Olá, eu sou Beatriz Guimarães, nós estamos no GPS Entrevista e vamos ter a honra hoje de conversar com Nilima Bah, com a indiana Nilima Bah, sobre capitalismo consciente, que é uma cultura organizacional. Nilima, very welcome to GPS Interview and to Brasilia. It's an honor to be with you, and we are going to talk about conscious capitalism. And do you like to say something to open our talk?
Thank you for having me. It's a delight to be in Brazil. Conscious capitalism has a very good following in Brazil already. It's a movement that had started some years ago, but it really took hold in 2012, 2013, when this yellow book called Conscious Capitalism came out, written by John Mackey, who is the co-CEO of Whole Foods Market, and Professor Raj Sisodia, who is also my co-author on my book, Shakti Leadership. And conscious capitalism basically says that a company can do good by doing well, meaning business can be a force for good. You don't have to be less profitable if you're going to do good in the world. In fact, the research shows that companies who follow the 4 tenets of conscious capitalism, they outperform their competition 10 times. They are 10 times more profitable.
Quais são os 4 pilares do capitalismo consciente?
The 4 pillars are having a higher purpose beyond profit, having conscious leaders who have done the work of inner transformation and are aware of the impact their decisions make, to have conscious cultures built on love and care and not fear-based win-lose political kind of power over, and to have all your stakeholders integrated in your success. So when you profit, everyone profits, including the environment, society, culture. All values are raised up, not just financial.
Quais são as estratégias que você daria para as empresas que estão começando a implantar nos seus negócios o capitalismo consciente?
There are a lot of good consulting companies, boutique consultancies that are giving you the help you need to do an audit. You can audit your company to see what is the level of our conscious leaders, what is the level of our culture, what is the level of our purpose? Is it a higher purpose? How well do we integrate all our stakeholders? You can begin with a simple audit. And from there, I would say the first thing is to build your leaders, because all change is created by leaders. If you want to have the 4 tenets, the first thing is create conscious leaders, because those conscious leaders will then create the culture, the higher purpose, and the stakeholder integration.
E baseado nisso, então, a empresa começa a trabalhar, a se adequar aos princípios do capitalismo consciente.
Absolutely. It's a journey.
É uma jornada.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Ok. Na sua opinião, quais são as principais mudanças éticas e culturais que uma empresa tem que enfrentar quando ela está implementando o capitalismo consciente num contexto global, especialmente em países em desenvolvimento?
The main challenges are the perceived model of development, right? The world has understood development in a very American way, in a very Western way. And the truth is that model of capitalism, which is based on consuming natural resources and not regenerating and giving back into a circular economy, it has overconsumed the planet. And we do not have enough resources for the rest of the world to catch up in a developed sense, as if the model is like, say, a US of A, right? So the real challenge is for the global south or the developing countries to understand not just what is a market, but what is development, right? And developmental model has to be a new one, which is in relationship with nature. You know, mankind, society has to learn to live with nature, regenerate nature, not just take from it and consume it and discard, right? So we need a very different consumption pattern. We need a different form of consumerism. And if the global south or the developing world looks to the West, the developed world, and wants to ape the West and be like that and create those carbon, fossil fuel guzzling machines and cars and things, we're not going to be able to save ourselves and save the planet. So that is the biggest thing. How do we understand what is real development? What is well-being? What is a good lifestyle? So I think we need to reframe our attitude to what is growth, what is development, what is a good life, right? We need to have a different understanding, and that is the big challenge, changing mindset.
Changing mindset. Como é que os clientes vão identificar essas empresas que estão comprometidas com o capitalismo consciente?
This is a good question. There are organizations today who create things like great companies to work for. There is a way to understand which are the more conscious companies. So look for those metrics, study the brand, study the image it puts into the world, look up how they treat their employees, look up what is their carbon footprint. So really, customers have to become more conscious of where they spend their money, because they vote with their money, which company gets to survive and thrive and which one does not. So customers also have to take some responsibility for what they buy from the table and from the shelf. I wish it were not so, because between good governance, good government, and conscious companies, a customer should be able to walk into a store and feel safe buying whatever they are buying. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
In your speech, you said that the study began when Mr. Cole begin to study strategy of marketing in the companies.
Yes.
Can you tell us this story again, please?
Yeah, so my co-author, Professor Raj Sisodia, he's the co-founder of the Conscious Capitalism movement. He was a professor of marketing at Bentley University. And he started noticing that America spends trillions of dollars on marketing, just mail order, printing of pamphlets, and it was like the GDP of a small country, and with very, very little results. Return on investment was so little. And he really got ashamed that he's a professor of marketing. So he wrote a book and he called it The Shame of Marketing. His mentor said to him, America doesn't want bad news, it wants good news. So you need to reframe your message so that you tell how to be good at doing what you do. So then Raj studied companies who are very loved, brands that are very loved, but who do not spend so much on marketing. And then he created a whole list, and he calls them firms of endearment. Like there was a movie called Terms of Endearment. So he played on that. But that's when they discovered, when they went to Wall Street, saying, these companies are so loved and they're doing so much good in the world. They are looking after all their stakeholders, not just their shareholders. Maybe they're a little less profitable, right? Maybe being good shaves down your bottom line, right? But to his great surprise, these companies not only were profitable, they were sometimes 10 times more profitable than their competition. So right here was the business case for conscious capitalism, that doing good is good for business.
Você tem propósito que as empresas tragam isso para a sua cultura organizacional com resultados positivos. Do ponto de vista prático, como isso começa?
In a very practical way, it boils down to focusing on your task, which is also your target, your bottom line, your profit, but also focusing on your relationships, which is the human values and the culture of love and care, taking people along in your success. So if you can help your leaders to make sure they don't have to do a trade-off between task and forget relationship, or only focus on relationship and forget the task. So at a very minimum, to stay focused on both. And I say it's like inhaling and exhaling. right? You need both. You can't say, I only want to exhale and I don't want to inhale. Task and relationship are like the yin and yang of a culture. You cannot focus on one and neglect the other.
E agora a gente vai falar sobre o Brasil, né? Qual a impressão durante a viagem dela que ela teve sobre o Brasil?
I am really in awe of Brazil. Brazil has a secret sauce. There is something unique about this country. I also believe every country has its own genius and its own unique purpose to bring to the body of the world of nations. And when I have tuned in, I think what is unique about Brazil is this very open, innocent, childlike, curious, creative energy. It has that as a child archetype. There is an innocence from which there is an openness to receive and learn and try new things. There's also a joie de vivre. There is a joy and fun element these people have. It's in the land, it's in the culture. So that is very precious because the world is being destroyed by very serious people
Yes.
who take life too seriously. And I think Brazilians have that fun attitude.
Fun, joy,
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
Quais são os países e as empresas que estão liderando o capitalismo consciente?
It's happening in pockets within countries. I think Scandinavia is very good. You know, they're very conscious in their environmental impact. Different countries are doing good on different dimensions. So India may have a very powerful spiritual intelligence. You know, in our culture, there is a lot of innate spirituality, which keeps our consciousness high. But then we may not have an environmental awareness to the same extent. Norway and Sweden may have very high environmental consciousness, but they also have high suicide rates and so
Yes.
on, right? So no one seems to have all the boxes ticked of what it means to be a conscious country. They are good in different aspects. Similarly, with companies, I would say you have Patagonia, who I really admire. Even this company called Interface. It's a carpet tile manufacturing company. And they just had a very conscious leader who said, I want to turn my factory into a forest. So if you look up the business case of Interface, he has changed every single process in their value chain so that at every moment, they're reducing their environmental impact to the point that they give out more oxygen than they take.
Você trouxe para a gente na sua palestra, você falou sobre a Whole Foods, que é americana, e a brasileira New Holland. Você poderia trazer para a gente um pouco desses dois casos?
What these companies have figured out and done brilliantly, and again, it begins with leadership. So John Mackey, who is the co-founder of Whole Foods Market, he openly says, I was a hippie. You know, it was all about love and being the flower child and, you know, being organic. And, you know, eventually he turned vegan, right? And, you know, do no harm and all that. But then he realized the food system of America is broken. And he says, I want to be part of the change. So let me start a little store. And he started calling it Safer Way. And then eventually it became Whole Foods Market. His biography has just come out. It's called The Whole Story. So it shows the point that everything begins with leadership. You need one awakened, conscious leader with a passion and a purpose. And then that person manages to gather inspired people around him or her. And then they can create the change. So today, Whole Foods, of course, eventually it got bought over by Jeff Bezos and Amazon. That is another story
Yes.
of a hostile takeover that happened, etc. Was looking to happen, but he avoided that. But what Whole Foods has done by following the tenets, you have a conscious leader who builds conscious leaders. You walk into a Whole Foods store and you feel alive, you feel happy, you feel the love and the care. And you don't feel the mean energy that you otherwise may feel in many other workshops and offices, right? So he's built the conscious culture. The higher purpose that I will change the way America eats, right? We will find organic ways and the stakeholder integration. They map every supplier and they go and audit every supplier to make sure that what they are buying is coming from fair trade, is organic as far as possible. So they live their values, and then you see the result.
E no Brasil vocês visitaram a
Yes.
New Holland. Como foi essa experiência?
So this is a company that does agricultural equipment. And I was just blown away by how conscious this leader is, how gentle and generous he is, how careful he is about everybody, and how he does not wear his power on his sleeve. He is in service to everybody, to people. His humility was amazing. So very often we say these are the unconscious, conscious capitalists, meaning they are conscious and they don't know they are. They are naturally already doing this kind of good work, right? So the way he looks after his people, the way he pays their wages, the way there is an equality in the company, the way everyone starts from the bottom and grows, having learned it from the inside out. And his original purpose was to complete the dream and vision of his ancestors who had come to create a new life and find peace and prosperity in a new world. All that is beautiful. And then he's still evolving, which is also very important, right? So now it's not just about fulfilling the dreams of ancestors who left Europe to escape poverty and, religious oppression, but it's also about making sure that same inclusion is created here.
Falando de uma forma geral, quanto tempo você acha que as empresas vão levar para se adaptar a esse modelo?
This is a tough one because large companies, they say it takes a lot to move a big ship from one direction to another. Personally, I feel it'll be easier to focus our efforts on the SMEs, the small and medium-sized enterprises, because they will be able to pivot much faster. So it all depends on the size of a company and the commitment of the leadership.
Agora sobre mulheres, qual a importância das mulheres nesse processo como um todo?
Very much. So the SDG 5, which says we just need more women and girls in education and leadership, women are critical to the economy, ecology, technology, and peace building. So of course we need more women. So there are two reasons we need more women, and that it will be good to have women in business. One is just the ethical case. It's about social justice. Women need equal rights, opportunities, and status. We just need more justice. We need more just societies, right?
Yes.
But it's not just that the women bring. When women come, if they are conscious, they will bring more feminine values and behaviors, which they are also innately socialized to be good at, such as caring and sharing and empathy and collaboration and creativity and inclusion. Not all women do that because most women can come into the business world and act like more masculine, right? That's because those are the qualities, focus and direction and confidence and strength and clarity and action. Those qualities get measured and rewarded in leadership in companies. So even women start behaving like that. It's great. We need all that. But we can't be doing it to the neglect of the healthy feminine values and behaviors. So women have to come into more leadership positions in companies, but they have to be supported and validated and rewarded to express their feminine strengths as well.
Qual a mensagem final que você gostaria de deixar para os brasileiros e para os brasilienses empreendedores?
I will say the world needs you to find your inner hero, your inner heroine, because we need our entrepreneurs. They are the ones who are going to find market-based solutions for human problems so that we can be in a regenerative economy and ecology. But it will take a lot from you. You may even feel that there are times you will die or that your company will collapse. It's those moments that you have to learn from the hero's journey and understand that it's part of your process. You have to wake up, grow up, show up, and become a whole new consequential being. and then you'll survive whatever is the challenge you are facing. So do not give up. Find that heroic courage inside you and stay the course.
Ok. Thank you very much. Agradecemos a todos vocês e estamos terminando mais um GPS Entrevista. Muito obrigada pela audiência.